Hey there, welcome. I'm Damien and I'm just another starving artist on the internet. And perhaps you may notice that the sound doesn't match with the video. That's because for some reason some of the footage I took during this convention was lost or corrupted, and most of the original sound is gone as well, leaving so little of it that it wasn't really worth it keeping any of it. But let's get to the topic at hand. We are at Animecon UK Birmingham, and this event was already going badly before it even started. This is the second year they do it, and from last year I heard mixed reviews. Some people did alright and others did quite badly. I'm only doing it because I managed to keep my expenses very low, since I'm once again sharing a table with Monokiro, and I can take the train to and from Birmingham every day rather than finding accommodation nearby. By the way, finding accommodation near this venue is insanely expensive, like central London kind of expensive, and there's nothing to justify those prices if I'm completely honest. But going back to the event itself, in the months leading up to the convention, there allegedly were a few problems with the organizers being a bit irresponsible with traders' personal data and information. There were not one, but two data breaches, and the organizers were allegedly not being very open about what they're doing to prevent future issues like this, or even pretending like nothing happened. For a time, everyone trying to log into their exhibitor profiles will be redirected to another person's account where you could see their address, phone number, full legal name, and all the things. And the organizers just brushed it off, and we were told that that was not a real trader, but rather an example page that we were all being redirected to by mistake. Allegedly, I personally don't buy that look like a real person. And I want to address the organizers here, not only for this event, but most events I've done in the last 3 years that I've been tabling at conventions since the apocalypse happened. Get your stuff together and be honest to us. Most people in Artist Alley talk to each other. We have massive Discord groups where we talk about events, how they went, and we share information with each other in general. When you say something to one of us, we will all find out eventually. So be honest and open about your events. When you ask for feedback, take the time to read it and leave a paper trail behind. We're not going to talk on a phone call. We want you to leave written words behind that we can trace. And I'm going to directly quote Animecon's website here. It says, Animecon is organized by the Fanatics Group Ltd. We are a company with mountains of experience, delivering consumer exhibitions at all major venues in the UK, with over 60 successful consumer art and trade exhibitions under our belt. We know what it takes to organize events the size of Animecon and make sure your visit to the show is a special one. End quote. Honestly, if you told me you have run over 60 successful events, of any kind, not even Animecon specifically, I don't believe you. They talk about the size of Animecon when it's barely a medium-sized event. I'm not saying running an event is easy, because it's not. I know it's not. But you can't claim to have all this experience and then make an event like this thing. And I'm not even going to go into details with the London one. I wasn't there myself, but the unanimous consensus of everyone that traded and attended is that it was horrible. Once again, I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but I don't believe you. But that's just like my opinion, man. This has been an ongoing trend with conventions in the UK from my personal experience. Well, I think I'm showing you how I was setting up my half table. I lost some of the footage, so you won't be able to see everything. And by the way, yes, Monokiro is just goofing around and only started setting up when I was almost done. That's completely alright though, it's usually what happens, and there was no rush to finish setting up early. We actually had a very generous time to set up. I will not name them, but the people that were in the table next to us, to our right specifically, only showed up to the event 15 minutes before it opened on Saturday, and they proceeded to demand another table because they allegedly, again, paid for a corner table. The map had been out for a long while at this point, and you could have checked it and complained about it beforehand, to be completely honest. But anyways, their art looked very obviously traced from anime screenshots, so I was alright with them moving away. And that led to us having an extra empty table next to us, and we were allowed to put some of our merch on it. I walked around the convention before it opened on both days. It wasn't just because it wasn't open yet, but it just felt like the space was not used. very efficiently. There were lots of empty space, and a big part of the hall was actually just empty. I assumed it was a space for visitors to hang out, but this was behind the main stage. Sitting areas were very limited, and there was barely anyone there most of the time anyway. Overall, not the worst convention I've done, but not a good one either. The bar is not very high. I made an amazing £2 profit, so at least I didn't lose any money. I also brought some new stuff, which were the bottom badges that you saw earlier when I was showing our table, and I sold not a single one, so that went great. Some of us did alright, but very few good enough to make us want to do it again next year. Especially as they announced that they intend to make it a 3 days long event instead of just 2. It's not a convention big enough to justify 3 days. There aren't enough activities and there weren't enough attendees. That also means that the price for the tables will most likely go up, and the tables are already pretty expensive as they are. They have been charging about the same amount as MCM for them, but they're not really delivering MCM returns or services. Something that I have to give it to them is that I believe this is the only convention that lets you book backing tables, and even more than one space in Artist Alley. Usually when you apply for Artist Alley you get a space with a table and that's it. You don't get more options, and in some cases these tables are thinner, shorter, or both when compared to a normal dealer's table. I know that other conventions in Europe and other places, you have the option to book several tables and backing tables, but in the UK that's not really something you can do. And that's all I have to say for now. I know this is probably going to be shorter than usual, but for me this event was, well, quite uneventful. So I don't have a lot to say because nothing happened. If you have any questions or want me to elaborate on anything I said, also let me know if you were there and what you thought of the event. If you like my work, you can find the link to all my social media down in the description. If you want to support me, you will find a link to my Ko-fi and Patreon in the same link. And if you want something physical and solid in return for your support, you can visit my shop, you guessed it, in the same link. So yeah, keep drawing, keep getting better, and I'll see you next time.